Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. At least I'm going to do something different the next few videos. And so reply in the comments depending if you like this way of doing it better or the old way or the other way. So in this video I'm not going to do candle by candle in the next few videos. I'm going to have it laid out here and then I'm going to give you a chance to see what you see in here. So pause the video if you want. And then I'm going to start throwing on the lipstick, as ICT calls it, on here to show you what I saw when I trade this. Okay, so right now this is the London silver bullet time frame from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. This is the New York midnight open. If I'll scroll back a little bit here, you can see that I'll turn on this. Make sure you see that Asia has been taking the low and we don't get to the high here. Okay, so and where did we go down here, right? So if you go to the 5 minute, without having anything else on the chart here, let's turn this off. You see that we came down here. So we filled in this fair value gap and mark it here. We filled in this fair value gap sometime earlier, right? And then the next fair value gap is way down here. And we don't touch it, right? Okay, so that's the 5 minute. So when it's not 5 minute, 15 minute, this is where we're at right here. This is where we started here. We came into this 15-minute fair value gap. All right, that's 15 minute. So mark that as 15 minute. Okay, now let's look at the 1 hour. And now we're in a 1 hour fair value gap, which takes precedent over the 15-minute fair value gap, right? So this is the 1 hour fair value gap. 1 hour fair value gap. All right, so let's go back down to the 1 minute and see what you guys see. Okay, before I start adding things on here. All right. So here's what I saw. I saw that when price comes down, it took out Asia low, and so I wanted to know where it was going. Obviously, we're going to a discount PD array, and so I'm looking at higher time frame. Obviously, a 5 minute didn't have anything. 15 minute is this orangish box down here, and then inside the 1 hour, right? Obviously, I want to make sure we hit the 1 hour here. And so I'm trying to see, are we going to start having displacement to go up? And we did a little bit, but we didn't really start taking off, right? So we're just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of coming up. I mean, yes, there's some fair value gaps, but not enough displacement to really get me to start buying yet. So we come down, we have all these failed swings right here. Let me show you those. This right here is, I want to say, one of these does this really well. I want to say it's path. It's here to here to here. Well, let's go to here, here, right? There's your failed swings, okay? So obviously when it comes down here, it's going to come down and take that low resistance liquidity run is what that is, really fast. It came down in here, basically tries to go to constant encroachment, which is the middle of the 1 hour fair value gap. It doesn't get there, but does tap in here, right? So that's a good sign. I'm looking for higher time frame PD rate and then reaction from it, right? We start pulling aggressively. We hit it and we start aggressively going up. This is what some people call a sharp turn. So we got that right there, right? I would say, this being a market structure shift on the smaller time frame, ideally I'd want to have this one because this would be the major swing that came down. So I'd want to see that right there, right? Oh, there's a 1 hour fair value gap. Just add that on there. All right. So what else do we see here? Obviously, this is showing us the fair value gaps in blue here that we have. And then the pink are the bearish fair value gaps. Let me zoom in here a little bit. So fair value gap right there. And I'd consider this a breaker block. Why am I using the wick? Okay. Kraken, why isn't this your breaker block? Well, I've seen it both ways. Now that is a bearish breaker right there, is the highest utmost candle right here. That is a breaker, right? But when you have a wick of a down close candle right next to it, Sometimes I've seen ICT, it's personal preference, use the wick. So I'm using the wick of that candle to add to the breaker block. There's my breaker. It overlaps with PD arrays. I'm taking an entry. Was there an entry down here? No, not really. Now, if you wanted to say, hey, wait a minute, let's go with structure wise. This right here is an order block. This is an order block. I need to go. I need to make up order block here. Hold on. Let me just delete this. Show you how I'm doing this. Delete this. Save it as. Save it as that. Save. Okay. So that should support price. When price comes down here, you can take that trade. Am I taking that? No, I'm not taking that. We haven't had a market structure shift yet. Okay. Now our next where's our next order block that should support price? Right here. Does it support price? Yep, you could have entered right here. That's the middle of a possible breaker block. So you could have entered right there, right? Here's where I entered. I would enter right there. Now, would I come down here? Maybe if it hits it. But I have this is only 7 points. Granted, London, I'm not aiming for usually my full target, right? Usually I'm trying to go for 25 to 30, 35 handles, points minimum. But on London, I'm trading lower. So this is 7.5. I want at least 2 or 3 to 1. So 25 points get me 3 to 1, 3.25. I'll shoot for that. Well, why am I shooting for that so high? Well, when it digs into the higher time frame PD array and we have a reaction from it, this is right here is your manipulation leg. So I'm pulling a fib from the manipulation leg, high to low here. And I will go from between the 2 and the 2.5 standard deviations right here. 2 to 2.5 is a good spot to aim for, to shoot for. In London, I like to shoot for just over the 2, about the 2 range. So I just did 25. You can go over here to get 22 right there, and that's fine too. To go for 2, low-hanging fruit, just get it and be done. And as you can see, we just did the higher time frame breakdown from higher time frame. We had a market structure shift. I'm showing you that order blocks for supporting price. You have a breaker block here and a fair value gap here. You can enter that trade there. Stop goes down here. You could have entered on this candle here if you wanted to. So let me show you where you could have entered here. You could have entered right here on that order block. You could have entered right here on this order block. Would have been pretty aggressive. So just showing you that. Oh, there's only 2 right there. So that's your London silver bullet for Tuesday, January 30th.